Really difficult act to follow, just what's happened. But I think one of the things that tonight I think is really important is actually seeing a group of males, because generally speaking, we're a pretty hopeless bunch. We're not that good at actually talking or actually sharing our real selves. And I was about to say the two most dangerous words in the world. One is actually we're from the ministry and we're here to help, but the other one is the word fine. You ever hear anyone say that? Take a bit of time to stop and reflect and engage in what they mean. Because generally fine does reflect fucked up, insecure, neurotic and emotionally screwed up. And how so often that is true and reflects exactly what's going on in people's lives. Time is such a precious gift. That ability just to share, to take a moment of time to be present with someone that actually probably doesn't know quite the challenge they've got in front of them. The other bit too is males. The importance of us as fathers with daughters. We are their role models. A special bond that builds there in terms of actually the strength and the power of women. But the one part that we often neglect is the relationship with boys. Boys need you to be their mentors, their role models, the ones that actually have the courage and ability to listen and hear what they're saying, to just be a tiny bit interested in their life and what they're doing. The one thing that concerns me most, because I'm in the business of health, and we often pick up the broken parts where actually it hasn't worked out. And one of the things that comes through most strongly is the relationships between sons and their fathers. So often, that is the area that actually, if it was a wee bit stronger, if there was a connection, would make such a profound difference to our young men and, kind of our future. So, you guys matter. You're an important part of our health strategy because, quite frankly, it starts at home. It starts in the environments where we live, love, work and play. Domestic violence and alcohol, it's really prevalent in our community. The impacts, it's not just after an All Black game or the Crusaders not doing so well. It's an everyday occurrence. We're children, we're parents, we're mothers and sometimes fathers, they haven't got a safe place to go to. And actually that is something that should worry all of us. Because that's our community, that's us that's been reflected back. And the only way that we can ever change that and really improve and make a strong, resilient community is starting with how we interact with those that we engage with. Christchurch, and I think much of the country, has certainly been impacted by the events of the last 3 weeks. A lot of people talk about actually things have changed. I'm not sure. I think the door has opened. Whether we're courageous enough to actually step through that, because part of that is about letting a wee bit of ourselves go and to challenge and look at ourselves in the mirror. I reflect on the 15th with 48 gunshot wounds turning up at a hospital. Those of you that may have seen gunshot wounds, they're actually bloody awful, and particularly with soft-nosed bullets. They do damage to bodies. It is remarkable that all 48 people that have been treated at Christchurch Hospital are still alive. And with a touch of luck, all of them will survive. And that's going to be close going. But just to give you a wee bit of a sense of the full emergency department, that was before the gunshot wounds turned up. The ability to clear an emergency department with trauma is quite a remarkable feat. Operating theatres that were already full with other cases, our routine cases that were being done. To reflect that by 6 o'clock that night, the emergency department was back to normal. In America, 49 gunshot wounds is I think it's equivalent to about the third or fourth largest mass shooting in the US. Any single hospital in the US deals with about 6 to 8 gunshot wounds at a time because they have multiple trauma centres. And one of the things that's been most intriguing is people saying, so where did we fly in our trauma surgeons? Every single one of them has been managed here. And just to give you a wee bit of a sense, for some people, that is on to their 15th operation already, because trauma surgery is complex, it's messy, and it involves organs. But the point that sits behind that is, in that moment, moments of crisis, teams do not work if they've not played together before. The environment and the culture that you create in all of the workplaces that you work at is really, really important. What you do every day and how you act and respond actually sets you up to respond to crises like the terror attack. Not one single ego, and those of you that know health is actually dominated by egos. Not one ego, right from the surgeons, anaesthetists, nurses, security guards, orderlies. Stories of courage, poor little orderly holding his finger on an artery that had burst. It's the first time he'd ever seen or involved or done something. That's what courage is about. And I reflect just finally, is I have heard some of the most courageous males talking tonight. It takes a lot for males to be vulnerable, to share a bit of themselves, because so much of ourselves are tied up in that sense of, are we successful with what and the outer persona that we have. Daughters are wonderful creatures to extract things from their fathers. But again, it's that moment in time of actually being present. Be present with your kids. Be present with each other. Grunting's okay. But sometimes as males we do need to extend and engage in a few more words. The sense of actually being together, community, is so important. And don't underestimate, again, the impact that each and every one of you have on those that you interact with. Our future generations are shaped by you. Whether we're a better, a stronger community is actually dependent on you. And that, I think, is part of the challenge and choice, and why events like tonight are so important. Is actually males just having a conversation. I'm still puzzled about the penis pump. And I'm curious as to how many in here have still got those pumps. But those sort of things, sometimes humour is crass. Sometimes it's strange, and women don't get us sometimes. And I say that on the basis of having been raised with 8 sisters. I got beaten into shape early on in the piece. But that's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be real. And actually the impacts that you'll have on this next generation can be really profound. Thanks.